Hey guys, I'm Dhanuka Lakshan. Today I joined the Global Azure Bootcamp 2025 Colombo held at Microsoft Sri Lanka. It was super cool tech event for students, developers, cloud experts, cybersecurity engineers, and anyone who loves technology.
Hi everyone, I am Hijaz Ramiz. Today we are at Microsoft. We are here to do a presentation in the Global Summit. Actually it's happening in multiple countries across the world. So we are here to give a presentation about Azure Platform Monitoring, and in that presentation we will present how the monitoring will happen. Azure Platform Monitoring in the sense that how to create a custom solution that will integrate with our existing monitoring solution that will enable us to send all our monitoring information to one single platform. So we will have a one unified view of all of our workloads that is in on-prem and the cloud environments.
Big thanks to the IT Pro Community Sri Lanka for organizing this event, and also big shout out to Advania Sri Lanka, the gold sponsor, for supporting this amazing day.
Hello everyone, today is a very special day for Microsoft learners. So in today's session we have discussed a lot of things. First of all, I'm Pasendu Vijay Sinha. So in today's session I have discussed about apps and DevOps related topic. So basically I have focused about DevOps lifecycle and how security involves for that process. Thanks for Advania actually for being main sponsor today's session. Please subscribe on Dhanuka Lakshan's channel and follow up with his channel to get update about this kind of functions.
There were a lot of great sessions and fun panel talks, hand-on activities, and even some giveaways. The event had three main parts. First on infra and security, second on apps and DevOps, third one is data and AI. In the infra and security track, we learned about how to build strong and real-world cloud systems, and tips to get Microsoft certificate easily, cool identity and access tools that work automatically, and how to manage all our cloud settings, and how to protect our cloud system for the future. According to the app and DevOps, we learned how to track and monitor apps, how to build apps using API first style, DevSecOps things, and we saw some real world examples and demos. This was such a great event. I learned a lot of things, met some awesome people. Thanks again to sponsors and organizers for making this happen. If you like this video, please give it thumbs up and put the comments what you like most, and don't forget to subscribe my channel.
How is AI transforming the landscape of cloud computing and developer productivity? That's it.
Okay, so the question is all about how we can simply use AI in some cloud computing or generally software engineering and data engineering, right?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, so this is how I see two sides of this question. So first thing is, I believe that everyone uses ChatGPT, everyone uses Copilot, and I'm 100% sure that those tools, services have helped you to improve your efficiency, productivity. Okay, we know for sure that we get a good help, good support from all these tools. So which means if you use the right tool with the right prompt, you get the right output. Okay, and that will definitely help you to improve the organization productivity. So that's something I see. The second side I see is, most of the time engineers or data engineers, software engineers, they think that okay, all these things, even though all these things give us benefits or the support, at the end it slowly take all the responsibilities we were holding. So which means we are slowly losing our jobs, right? Rather than thinking like within next 5 years, I don't think it will happen, but after 5 years, I'm not too sure. So we might not sit like this and talk about AI. Some robot will come and talk about AI after 5 years. But at this moment, rather than thinking like that, do not consider Gen AI or AI as a replacement of you. Try your best to see it as an opportunity. Get maximum from all these tools, and then try to start something new or add something valuable to your product. This is how I see. So just to summarize, yes, you have to use these tools. You cannot ignore. You can use and then add something valuable to all your implementations. That's my answer.
Right. Thanks. So adding to your thoughts into the same question quickly, what do you think about the developer productivity? How that
to start with, I think I don't know how many guys who remember the era before intelligence. Anybody remembers before intelligence?
They're not
that
old
old,
as
yes. Because I was starting like 7 years old. So any experience before intelligence? There is one person, right? So before intelligence, we remembered everything. So we read the MSD and documents, right? So we read that and then we try to remember every function, every command, everything. So there are two things: the logics on our head, and then the things we have to remember is like too much. So those editors, just syntax highlight was there, I think, as I remember. It gets blue, okay, if it's a type correct letter, it gets blue, and then only two colors, blue, bold, and those kind of things. Before, when I write Pascal, it was like yellow and white, the blue screen. So then no intelligence, nothing, you have to remember everything. But when the intelligence came in, we lost something there, the reading of documentation. We used to guess, right? So then we'll put a dot and then we'll guess and we'll just scroll through and then we just click it, and if it works, and then we try another one. So that happened. So then we lose the reading of documentation, and then that was okay. So after that, now another change. This code completion with AI. It came first. Code completion with AI means you just type in and it suggests the next whatever if you're suggesting, okay, if I'm writing, I say override save student. Right? And then save student means it knows, it reads the model and then it reads to a DB context and it will try to do something. So those kind of things, and then it made me like, okay, develop fast, and then again it got me remembered, okay, what when happened when the intelligence. Now people will lose their engineering skills first. Thinking of like out of the box thinking, engineering skills, they will lose definitely. So my advice was, there was a youngster, he came to me and then I am just studying, is it okay if I use these AI tools? I said it's okay, no problem, but you have to know your fundamentals. What is a variable, what is a constant, and what is this control structures, what is this algorithms. Those base fundamentals you have to know. Right? Again, you have to know what you are trying to do. If you are building a stock controlling system, you need to know the domain, where it is, how it works. So rather than you can ask, yes, you can say, I have a project, can you create me a stock control system? It will create now. With all the data models, all the codes, all the repositories, everything it will create, no problem. But you don't know what is happening behind the, because when it comes to hallucinating, because these models, these AI tools, very hallucinating sometimes, it will just go on and on, because once I I was like, I faced a problem. I was like trying to create a React application. So I was like trying to create stuff, but it's creating all these out of the directory. So I'm in another directory, I'm trying to compiling, it doesn't work, everything is out of the directory, all the directories, and it starts a request, it says, okay, this is not there, that's not there, and then it's trying to create all this thing, try to, okay, NPM stuff, and everything is there. Right? So those kind of problems arise if you lose your engineering skills. So my advice is like basics, you have, because even my office, we are now replacing with our editors using other things like Cursor, Windsurf. Now we are replacing, because our unit testing, everything we write using these AI tools. We don't write unit test anymore. We just store the methods and need to write the unit testing. Now, yesterday we tried, I think there was a demo, I don't know who did that. Yesterday we tried code review. Right? Code reviews, there's a GitHub bot using, there's an editor called Windsurf. I think they have a bot on GitHub. And then what it does was like when you put the PR there, automatically it will read the PR and write the comments. If there is a problem, it will just comment and then review it as well. Now I saw that on the GitHub as well, GitHub review, GitHub Universe demo. They had their own version of Copilot, GitHub Copilot. This is on Windsurf. So those kind of things are there. My advice is like fundamental, but you don't have any escape on these things, because even we are using it right now. Even though for today's my demo, I think I saw them, I created a React application. I used a technology called data API builder, right? So data API builder will create you within like 2-3 commands. Entire CRUD operation API, REST API, backend. The front end I did the Copilot. So within like 20 minutes, I have a full working employee management system with this tool, the React application. But again, you have to know your domain, you have to know your engineering skills, that's a must. So that those people will be replaced definitely if you don't have interview. Because yesterday we had an interview with a person, a student, and then we asked him some questions he didn't know. We asked him the small code and he was struggling. Then we asked him to, okay, at least can you use ChatGPT? Even though he couldn't do that. So you don't know what the correct question to ask. So those kind of things are there. English is a must now. So because 2 years, 3 years back, I think Nvidia CEO, he said English will be the next programming language. Right? He said, so English is must, and then prompting skills, reasoning, answering questions, and then within your context. Sometimes some models doesn't allow to send you entire code base. Right? Now later we have this Llama 4, they have this context, a bigger context. Now any code you have, you can't just send like 100 lines of code there, 1000 lines of code there, then you have to explain your context to these tools. So on developer point of view, keep your engineering skills and then don't be scared to use these tools. That's my advice. So use them. It's like some tools are $10, some tools are $20, but even the free versions are good. Try that. Even GitHub Copilot, you have a free version, every month it gets renewed. You can use these tools. So don't be scared. And then there are like base of these things learn, and then there are like new concept with other people. They will just, okay, this is like if you take this MCP service. Have you heard about the MCP service? It's called Model Context Protocol. It kind of a things when we work with these robotic frameworks, we add skills to these chatbots. Those kind of skills now we have called this MCP service with a like another skill to your agent. If you want like SQL Server database to read, you create a server and then it will grab it and then you have the database there. So those kind of things can be done. So make sure you get up to date. Also don't be scared. That's the future. You have no no choice. So infrastructure people, database people, everybody will get. Don't be scared. You can't escape because everybody will be there. Even Word, Excel, they are Copilot, right? So it's there. So that's my answer. Don't be scared. Learn your basics, fundamentals, and don't use your engineering skills. That's a must.
So how many of you are doing day-to-day work with Azure portal or something? Right. How many of you are very good? How many of you are like looking at the cost side? very few. Right? But how many of you are actually looking at the technical side? Technically everyone, right? Okay. So that's the main difference. Now as techies, right, the people here primarily really looking at the technology side. So we have new technology, it's very good and you are excited to use and you bring everything and try and do it, right? So we have to look at how does that technology converts into cost. Why? It's not normal on-prem, right? Whatever you use in cloud, generally there's a cost coming out. Then this cost, what will happen if you don't look at properly? It will impact the business directly. And they will also dissatisfy this particular technology is making us costly to run. So that's a wrong decision or wrong thinking that's going on. So one thing AI can bring up for this cost optimization side is looking at what are the resources it uses. So these AI tools now are getting integrated into the platforms itself for the operation side. They look at what is the resources in the systems and it look at these resources, how we can optimize, whether we can use this resource or whether predict a workload or whether we can use better resource for optimizing the cost but doing the same work, right? So things like Azure cost management. How many of you have looked at it? Azure cost management? 5-10%, right? But there is one of the important things you have to look at when it comes to cloud operations, especially when you are developing the app system, right? And not only developers, I am not talking about only development, right? Infrastructure, data science, and AI application, everything. Whatever you use, even the maybe Terraform system, code runnings, and all the automations that you run, everything will have a cost attached to it, right? Then first thing is resource optimization that we can use AI for that. And also it will give you workload placements where what is the best place to locate this particular workload in cost wise. Now we have Azure multiple sites, right? Global distributed networks. Then different databases. How many of you know different data centers have different costs for same resource? Good, very good. So then, of course, we have latency part separately, but generally, if it is a very expensive resource, you can look at moving it into the best cost possible location. So the AI tool within the system will give you the best option, best place to locate your workload. Right? That's one area that AI will help you in financial optimizations in the cloud economics. And the other one is, you can look at AI ops, DevOps with AI. AI DevOps will look at when you write the code and CI/CD pipelines and all, when you write, it will run the system. So it will advise you if there is a code or something that you have written, actually giving you more cost. So it can optimize that earlier than you are having it running after. Those options are coming up with AI tools for the cloud economic side. It will improve your output with the best performance plus the improved cost. And also you can use AI tools to train your staff how these particular cost, and as Vikri also said earlier, right? So you do AI, you are asking AI to do certain things and it will do, you don't know the back end what is happening, right? And the framework, how it works. So that should be known by the human person, not by the AI only. Generally, you can optimize the cost as well. As the developer said earlier, you should know the framework and where you can optimize also. That support can be taken from AI how to optimize themselves, right? But optimizing is one of the key things that you always you run a system, you develop something and you do a model and try and run it against the AI FinOps side. So the FinOps is the main part that is coming up. I think it's not very new. FinOps has been there for some time. It's especially in the cloud area. How many of you know FinOps? That's very low, very low. So FinOps is it's like DevOps, right? So financial operation optimization is primarily coming into FinOps side. That area is one of the key things you all have to learn. You may be not from financial side or business side, but when you design a solution or develop an application and you deploy it, you have to look at exactly the costing that this particular system will bring, right? You can have multiple ways of doing same thing. It will impact your running cost. Then AI tools will going to help you optimizing that part as well. So with that, I'll wrap up my answer.
So let's move to the next round of questions. This is for Dinesh again. So how can organizations integrate complex analytics powered by AI and to make better decisions and innovation?
Alright. So the question is all about how we can improve the analytical part of all our business application using AI.
Yeah.
Okay. So before AI, we have been implementing various type of solutions purely for analytics. This is something we discussed as a part of my last session as well. So we didn't have AI, we didn't have machine learning. All we did was we added something to on top of all our relational databases and tried to find insights, try to perform analytics. Okay, simple things we use. For example, if I want to find best customers based on the revenue, based on the number of orders that I will place, we use TSQL, right? We write a statement like select all from this particular table and get the result set ordered based on the revenue or order amount. That's how we have been, performing analytics before AI and all, right? We use full text indexing, light statement. In addition to that, we use some .NET components as well. So this is how we have been performing analytics before AI or before machine learning. But once we started working with specifically with big data, okay, then we had to improve all the procedures we have been using for performing analytics. We started seeing small components initially. Those are not really considered as AI components. We started seeing machine learning components, and then we started seeing AI. Now, do we really have to explicitly implement something in order to use AI for analytics? In certain cases, you use without knowing that all these things are powered by AI. Okay, I'll give you a very simple example. I believe that everyone knows about Power BI. Everyone uses Power BI. Yes, right? At least 90% of this audience. Okay, so Power BI has various type of visuals. Think about something like key influencer or decomposition tree, right? All these are AI powered visuals. But we have never ever seen a tag saying that okay, these visuals are AI powered, or you have to configure some machine learning components or models or LLMs. No, nothing. You just drag and drop, set initial values for all the properties that have been given in the visual, and then you start seeing results. So those visuals give you something additional, not just like listing out best customers based on the revenue figure. Okay, so we started seeing AI without knowing that these visuals are really empowered or powered by AI. Think about situation like this. These are the real things we have implemented about 10-15 years, right? So let's say we have let's say the organization is an insurance organization and we need to find best customers, or let's say we need to group customers based on certain attributes we have added to a customer object. Okay, what we do is we try to figure out whether a customer is male or female based on attributes. Okay, based on the age we try to group it. Okay, based on the income level, whether married or not. Those are the things we use for grouping customers. But with machine learning, we started seeing clustering. All right, but those days we had to code and create the model. But we started seeing good facilities to come out with the right grouping, specifically in something like customer segmentation. Okay, so we slowly started applying machine learning components for analytics, and then simply improve the productivity of the organization. Right. Now we see AI. Okay, with AI we can do a lot. Now, for example, if you want to find insights of your sales data, right? Rather than writing all your queries, you can take a couple of, configure a couple of LLMs, and then use those LLMs for getting all the insights out without simply writing codes. Okay, so which means AI really helps you to improve the analytical part. Okay, now I don't know whether how many of you have used Fabric. So Fabric has SQL database as a part of Fabric production. Okay, so that database has that feature has some AI components that automatically improves database performance. That's a technical part. In addition to that, it gives you a semantic model automatically with some additional components. So we are not going to spend any time on creating the models. It automatically gives us the model. So at the end, what has been improved? Analytics. Okay, so all these are part of AI and the machine learning. It creates the right data set, it creates the right dimensions and the facts, and in certain cases it creates measures as well. Okay, so another thing that this is really a good thing we have noticed with analytics. In order to perform analytics, if you go back to 5 years back, you have to always create a separate storage or container, okay, and get the data from all your transactional database into this container and apply various type of techniques to optimizing that containers for analytics. That's something we have been doing for years. So we create data warehouses, big data clusters, integration databases. We have various type of terms, but at the end we have one big data container which is optimized for analytics. If you have work on projects like that, we simply allocate at least 60 to 70% of the project timeline to implementation of that storage. If you have worked on data warehouse projects, you know about it. So that has a very big cost. Why? Because you have to implement ETL solutions. ETL solutions need a lot of resources, a lot of time. Okay, so think about the cost. If you are spending 100,000 USD for implementing an analytical store like that, you'll be spending 70,000 purely for getting this storage created. Okay, but now thanks to AI, within 5 to 10 minutes this AI storage is getting created. In a way, we lose opportunities. All the business opportunities are not available now. Otherwise, we can simply charge for 3-4 months from the customer for implementing warehouse or the big data cluster. But now when you create a database in, let's say, Fabric environment, let's say you create an operational database, you don't need to do anything. It creates everything for you. So you are not going to create ETLs, you are not going to create models. It creates everything for you. So months of months of implementations have been reduced to 5-10 minutes. So this is how you see the usage of AI when it comes to analytics. Okay. Likewise, there are many aspects of this. Even for various type of analytics, finding best customers, finding best product, why certain products are not being sold, why customers are leaving. Like those are like sort of old-fashioned analytics, but we spend a lot of time for getting those analytics done. But now it is not like that. There are built-in, visuals available for all you do is just drag and drop, get the visual configured with the data, and it starts giving you answers. Okay. Think about chatbot that can be created in certain platform. The session I did, as a part of this event, it was based on chatbot, right? But for that you have to write some codes. But if you take Microsoft Fabric, you can create something called data agent. Maximum 5-10 minutes, right? All you do is, okay, you have to say, use the data from my semantic model, my lakehouse data tables, or my KQL database. You have to just say, that's all. Once it is done, your chatbot is available. That's we call as data agent. Okay, just like ChatGPT or Copilot. Now you can ask question from your data, just like the way you have been communicating with ChatGPT. So think about the what you call improvements you see with your business, right? If you want to open something like that for customer, it can be simply opened. If you want to open that for your business users, department heads, directors, managers, that can be simply arranged. Okay, I don't know what will happen after another 2-3 years. Okay, but this is something really cool, and not only that, it's really valuable. AI has helped us a lot in terms of analytics. Okay, this is not something we expected, but now, even let's say, the person, two things, right? If you want to perform analytics, you need to have technical knowledge, you need to have business knowledge. Currently, most of the things that have been addressed by AI is technical, right? But there are some AI components that addresses business part as well. Okay, if you have a database that contains sales data, you can simply say, okay, give me the products that have been sold in this year well, but have poor performance in last year. Likewise, you can ask questions on data. All these are technical, but certain products, certain LLMs can simply give you output saying these are the things you have to do now. Take these actions. Okay, all these things are available. So think about the improvements we see with AI functionalities and features. So we see a lot, and within next 1-2 years, we will be seeing much more things in terms of analytics. I'm sure that you will be able to take the phone and then ask some really questions in a very odd way. Okay, you don't need to have a domain knowledge, you need to have a technical knowledge. You just ask a question, and then the agent will give you a superb answer. What has happened, and what will happen if you continue like this? What sort of actions you have to take in order to solve these things? You'll be seeing answers like that. Okay, so that's how I see AI supports for analytics.
Fikri, I would like to, if you can share some your experience and your thought into the vibe coding. So, is that vibe coding is AI assistant coding, or like it's a completely new culture, or what it is?
Before, it's like I think we had that coding method because when we started, normally, have you heard about this pair programming? Those days we did, right? Like even universities, they had this pair programming, 2 developers in one IDE and 1 computer, 1 keyboard, 1 mouse. So what we did was like one method, one implementation, both of the developers are doing. So one is like, one will be the I, one will be the developer. So we will be looking at, okay, these are the errors, and then you can just, you miss the semicolon, and then other will say, okay, I missed this semicolon, I fix it. And again, this SQL is wrong, and all those things we did, right? This is called pair programming. So one will be the pilot, other will be the co-pilot. That's the concept.
Physical.
Yeah, physical co-pilot. So he will say, okay, maybe a senior developer or a junior developer. Junior developer will develop, a senior developer is there. Now that concept is it's like being added as a AI agent or AI chatbot. That's why it's still calling a co-pilot. It's not the pilot, you are the pilot. You have to get that pilot, co-pilot to work for you and get the answers. Right? So now those days we had these prompts. We write the prompt, and then now it was just a chat. It's a chat, and then we copy paste it. Copy paste the code, and then it worked, and then if an error we put it back again, and then there's an error, and then it put the correct code and it came back. That was the chat level. After that it went to the agent level. Now you know that agent level, right? Agent can do something, like he can delete files, he can add files, he can delete rows, and he can suggest things. If you just say, okay, create me a React application that does to do, and then use a backend as Node.js, and you can create everything. Right? So those kind of things. But still, you will need to have the control. So this thing called the vibe coding. The vibe means like you give the vibe to it, like, okay, these are the things I need. These are the domain stuff I need. These are the models I need to create. So those kind of things called vibe coding. Now it's like think you have a senior developer for help you. Think like that. Ask questions, and then we just make sure you are just telling the correct way of doing it. Because most problem I have seen on vibe coding is like hallucination. If there's an error, most of the time if there's an error, I can just fix this error, and then it goes back, and then it adds something, and that adds something will get another error. right? Then it will, if I paste that error, it will go back and delete it, and then the other error comes in. So those kind of hallucination comes there. So then what you do normally, there are two people working what you do. Even though we were just working on, we said, okay, this is now getting like, team will just have some tea and come back, right? Delete and all, we'll go there and then have some tea, maybe get a cigarette and then whatever, then you just come back and then, okay, you are fresh, you just start. You do the same with this vibe code. What I do is like, there is a normal way of like, when you just working with it, the chat scrolls up, right? And then there's a method called, you need to put it in the history, maybe save this chat or something like that. There will be, depending on your chatbot, you will get. What I do is like, I'll just click another and start new. Start new, I'll explain, okay, let's start a fresh start. Make sure you forget everything what you did right now. Let's get back to this. This is the problem I have, let's start back. Then you'll get another good answers again. So those kind of things, again, make sure you just, you are the pilot there. That's why these things called co-pilot. That's your AI assistant. Not your AI ruler or your commando or something. It's always AI assistant, but it was like when we worked with last year, it just chat. Now it writes code. I don't know, next year, now we have voice as well. We can just ask, do this, do that, it will just do it. What will happen, it can just start thinking. Now we have these thinking models, right? Reasoning models. It will reason. Okay, if I ask something, okay, it will reason. No, what will happen if we do like this? We have reasoning models. If we just, new model will be coming reasoning, and then it will be just a different story, right? Again, this UI UX stuff, right? I've done UI UX stuff on chat, this AI agents. Anybody? You grab a screenshot like this and then put it to agent, ask to develop a CSS and HTML style, it will develop now. Just try it. Go to GitHub Copilot and then grab a screenshot and do it. Now there are sites called like B0, those kind of sites, right? You will give the screenshots and then it will just create your entire React application, Angular application, Vue.js application. You just download it and work from there. You can say, okay, use Bootstrap as my CSS, use Tailwind as my CSS. Those kind of things can be done now. Now things can read your documentation. There are rule files. Rule files mean you can tell a context and you can tell a scope. You can create rule files. Make sure you are working on this. This is my architecture. I am using a clean architecture. I am using a mediator. I am using a database as SQL Server. I am using entity framework. You put that rule file, it will stick to that rule file. On Cursor, it's called a rule file. On GitHub Copilot, it's called instructions. You can just put it into a box and then tame it. Otherwise, it will go like hell. For unit testing, 100% it works now. No problem. Code reviews, it works now. Now we are trying on automating testing. Test automation scripts. Now we can do that because on next ASP.NET will have that. It's called test automation with Playwright. We can write code to automate test. We can ask AI to do that, right? So those are things coming in, and then now we don't write those tests, we write SQL. Now these ORMs replace that one. Now ORM will be replaced with this Copilot because all the things it's there. Because I did a demo with, it's called data API objects, right? So data API builder, it creates all the backend operations for CRUD, even with relational databases, even NoSQL databases, right? So most of things can be done. You have this DAB this side and then AI chatbot. Entire application is there. So don't be afraid. Again, read the documentation, create a rule set, and then vibe coding will be it's just like a breeze, right? Nothing to worry about. But replacement, I don't know. Maybe another couple of months, I just tell another story. Because last 6 months I didn't tell the same story. Now within like another, maybe in December there will be a totally different story. Yeah.
Next question is, what are the ethical considerations and challenges associated with the widespread AI adoption in cloud services? This is for Dhanuka. So how can they be addressed?
Yeah. So it's a very important part, ethical things. So how many of you have heard ethical AI or AI for ethics? How many of you have heard? Okay, some. Do you know there's a AI ethical AI framework also developed by Microsoft? How many of you know that? Okay, that's good. So why we need the ethics in the AI? So one reason, AI is, as its name says, artificial intelligence, right? It's artificial. It's somebody has created that. It's a machine. Machine. Now earlier AI, I think AI started back in 1950s, right? It's been coming from that to today, and more of them are developing into art. In 1998 and all the ANN has come in, like artificial neural networks, and then it comes in reasoning, machine learning. So all of those development happen over the time to make the machine think like a human, right? So all this time what it was lacking is cognitive part, right? That means cognition is reasoning engine or reasoning of, we are always reasoning, right? We look at people and we look at things, and always people, human, reason up. That's about cognition part. That is the part which actually coming into the technology side for the machines to think like humans. Right, when it comes in, always these systems will run with the, as they've been coded, right? Number one, according to the codes. And the codings may not be 100% accurate sometimes. So they can do things beyond what we think of even. AI can, for example, AI can create a new atomic bomb, new way, right? It can create another system that it will destroy everything else, right? It is also can use personal data of people and use it exposing outside. So many things this AI can be used, and it will be destructive to the humans and also the entire society sometimes. Why we need to prevent that is the question we are also answering, right? Why we need to prevent it? Because it will destroy everything. Then all these AI solutions, whoever creates in the world, needs to adhere to certain principles, right? For an example, we as humans, right? We all have our principles. We don't walk in the street and kill somebody, right? We don't do that. Why? Because we can't? No. We can do that, right? But why we are not doing it? Because we have mental framework of ethics that we have been learning from our birth, right, today, that fueled with so many things. That part is always preventing you are doing wrong things. So how does that is happening with AI? That is where the ethics has to be written into your AI solution. So Microsoft has 6 areas of ethical AI. So you can go to the website and find out what are more details of this. One of these things is fairness. The system should be fair for everyone, right? For an example, differently abled people should be able to access the system, right? Visually impaired people, sounds you can't hear. So those people should be able to interact with the system. That has to come in. That's a fairness. And also, if you are running an AI solution in an organization, for example, it's a bank. So all of you know, when you go apply for a loan in a bank, there's a back-end process that the bank is doing. They say whether this person should be given this loan or not. We call it as underwriting, right? Loan underwriting. So that is normally done by a person, human. If you replace that with the AI can suggest this person can be given the loan or not. This underwriting is automated. How? So the fairness should come in irrespective of the person's type, age, and the nationality or whatever. It should be giving the same result for everyone. So the system should be fair enough for it, because AI, because it's not a rule engine, right? It's a thinking, it has some cognition part inside. It can decide different things and people can change also to do unfair things. So we have to integrate all the systems with fairness. This is one example, right? So there are so many safety and securities of your data, and then you have privacy of your data. No one should be able to identify your data and identify you as a person and leak your data to someone else, and then they can take advantage of your person, right? So much of this ethics has to be influenced into the system. If it is thinking like a human, it should also have the values of human, ethics part. Now we have to write ethical framework. There are so many ethical frameworks also now coming up. Technically, you have to develop your system and run it against solutions for checking it against the ethics side. You run it and see whether what the score of your application 100% of ethical or 50% of ethical, whatever. Then you can pass through that solution to launch it in the system or wherever. So that part is very important to include in all the solutions. So whenever you think of doing anything with AI, any application development or any systems development, always think of using ethics framework. Otherwise, it will become what?
Dangerous.
There's a thing I think, Terminator. So all of you have watched Terminator, right? Have you? So Terminator, what happened? So it's AI. So now we like it or not, you can see certain things, right? Now Elon Musk has developed their own robots and thinking and walking. So Terminators can be developed if ethics part is not in the AI system. That's very important to look at. So always keep in mind at that part as a core primary thing is the development with AI or infusing AI into the application. So those are the things that you have to think, and also go back and see Microsoft AI ethics framework. There are 6 elements. Before that, always at least you can have some other frameworks as well, but at least look at that in your development or creating AI systems.